And we are live. What is going on, art enthusiasts and change makers? This is another week of Art for Change podcast, and I'm your host, Mr. Scipio Sexual. And my co-host today, what's going on, man? How that Marshall?
What's going on?
Nothing much, nothing much. We got another soulful edition for you. How was your weekend, brother?
Relaxing. Chillful.
Cheerful.
Chillful.
Yes, sir. You enjoyed this holiday weekend?
I guess so. I don't
You said I
I
did.
didn't
You said
grill out, I didn't barbecue, I didn't
it was too cold to barbecue up there in Rhode Island. It's still cold up there, man.
yes.
Man, shit, I need some of that cold weather right now. It's pretty toasty up here in Texas. I think it was in the 90s today. I went out to do a small errand and brought my butt right back in the AC for sure.
It's
Stayed
been in the
inside.
40s and 50s here.
Yeah, we got about 50 degrees on you here in Texas for sure. But we having some crazy weather too. This has been a couple of tornadoes stretching from like Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas. So this is like their tornado season, I guess, if you will. This is a new experience for me because in North Carolina, where I'm originally from, we don't see many tornadoes. Do y'all see any tornadoes up there in Rhode Island?
Seldomly. Far and few between.
Yeah, yeah. Same in North Carolina. I mean, like when hurricanes come, you may see a few tornadoes pop up, but typically that's not the weather we get. So we got some interesting questions for Soulful Sunday tonight, man. We'll jump right into these things. Uh, for you, what is the nature of reality, and how do we perceive it?
Reality is controlled chaos control on a grand proportion. And if you think of the word reality, it's basically real to the limited visionary.
Real to the limited visionary. I like that. I like that. I wrote a little something for this one too, because sometimes we have our questions ready so that we can always have a dialogue to go by. So for this one, I wrote reality is a complex interplay of perceptions, beliefs, and experiences shaped by our senses and our consciousness. We perceive reality through our individual lenses, influenced by culture, personal experiences, and emotions. So I think how that's why I feel like everybody's reality is right from their perspective. Because I can't say that Mad Hatter is wrong from his perspective because that's his reality with his lenses. Same perspective for me. No one can say that I'm wrong from my reality because it's my perspective. You know, they're either right and wrong, yes, but for what is reality to me, what my perspective, what I thought was transitioning in that exact time, that is from my point of view. And it's the same thing from Matt Heather. No one can tell him that he's wrong from the lenses from his perspective. So yeah, that's my take on the nature of reality for sure. Um, how do you define success, and has that definition changed over time?
Yes.
Right.
Well, the definition definitely has changed over time. Before it was you want more. Now I want less.
Absolutely right. I think that's the same answer for me. Just to piggyback off what you said, I think when I was a child, the idea of success was a NBA player's lifestyle, a NFL player lifestyle, a rapper's lifestyle, to a celebrity's lifestyle. To me, that was the pinnacle of success. And I think now, just to have a sustainable lifestyle, having children raised with integrity, and creating generational wealth for my family, to me, that is the system of success now. So it's no longer all of those things that I idolized when I was a child, for sure. Absolutely. Definitely had a change of what success means to me, for sure. Is happiness a choice, or is it influenced by our external circumstances?
Happiness is an emotion, and it's caused by feeling. And yes, it's outside influence. Somebody can outside somebody else's opinion or somebody else's energy or somebody else's aura or somebody else's comments or nature can judge your happiness, can control your happiness. But happiness is a emotion.
Happiness is definitely an emotion. And I believe I go even further and say that happiness is a self emotion. So I think happiness is a choice. Um, and being that it is a self emotion, I like you to even piggyback even further. I think it's both because I think that our circumstances control our emotions. And so, being that our circumstances control our emotions, our circumstances can control the emotion of happiness. Um, but I think we are the controllers of our circumstance to an extent. I think when we are small, when we are children, our circumstances is only determined by the factors of our parents. But I believe once you become an adult, you control your own circumstances. You control your own environment. So therefore, you become the sole provider of your happiness. And if you're not in an environment or space that doesn't add to your happiness or takes away from your happiness, you have to recognize that and remove yourself from those circumstances for sure. Hmm. What roles does technology play in shaping our identity, especially with social media being so big?
Can you do anything without it?
Say so. I see technology in everything. You got technology. People get in their cars, the GPS systems in their
People don't
cars.
even have business cards anymore. It's not like you can say, "Here, take my business card. It's here. Look me up on Twitter. Look me up here. Check me out on Instagram."
Yeah, yeah. They got a QR code for you to scan to go to their business website. Absolutely. Everything is digital for sure. Even most money situations is digital nowadays. How often do you do cash transactions? Most of the time we're swiping a card. That's a digital process.
I haven't walked in a bank in 20 something years.
I can't tell you last time I walked in the bank. It's been at least 10. Because I now I got the online bank. I got the Chime shit, and everybody say Chime not a bank, but Chime is so good to me. So I don't have no problem with my Chime. I get my money early. I got a savings account with y'all, and Chime let me get a credit limit with them. So yeah, Chime is just like a regular bank to me now. I don't care what no one say.
I got Navy Federal Credit Union, and I haven't walked into a bank since like 2009, 2010.
Yeah, I mean having Navy credit, I need to talk to you offline. Say I'm your bill. Yeah, because they got that good stuff going on there with Navy credit union. Yeah, just being with a credit union itself is a good circumstance when you have the bank. They're way better than the actual just a bank institute for people who do not know. If you can get with a credit union, that's the bank that you want to bank with for sure. Uh-huh. To me, the same thing with you, man. Technology shapes our identity by providing platforms for self-expression and connection, but also it leads to comparison and disconnect. Because when you see some people online, you got women judging the way they should dress or the way they should look based off the way the IG model, the way the Fashion Nova says that you should look. You got a lot of these women wanting to do BBLs and surgeries and lip fillers to match a certain aesthetic that is perceived in the media,
It's
perceived on.
creating an identity crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think I think what's the word? Self-esteem. I think self-esteem and insecurities is at an all-time high due to the access of social media, due to the
Is it
access
self
of
esteem and well, is it self esteem or is it more insecurities and constantly being judged over what you see and over not over who you are, and wanting to be somebody else over not wanting to be enough of yourself.
My bad, Marshall. These damn computers sometimes the connection messes up. That's the thing about these damn internet. Well, speaking on technology, look, that we having issues with the technology right there.
Yes.
Yes, yes, but you was speaking on asking if it was insecurities or something else. You were saying,
Is it insecurities, or is it our own self not caring enough about what we look like and everything, and caring so much about what somebody else looks like and trying to look like
mm,
somebody else and what they look
mm,
like, and not having enough of our own identity. Everybody
yeah,
says they want to be independent and wants to be themselves, but all they do
yeah.
is backpack off other people's ideas and appearances. Well, this is new.
Look like computer not gonna let us be great tonight. We're gonna keep it right on rolling, man. Sorry about the disconnection, brother. Um, how do you
AI don't like us talking about technology.
no, AI just definitely doesn't like us talking about technology. But when you talk about technology, the connection gets messed up. You see? Yeah. Big brother is definitely at work. We see you. We see you. Hey, but since we're on this topic, um, how do you think social norms impact individual freedom? Because that's basically what we were just saying. You basically were saying like because of the social norms, people don't have their own freedom to be their unique selves. We're trying to follow.
And what? Well, people are gonna say they're trying to be their unique selves, but really they're going off of what they see on TV and everything like that. So they're not being their unique selves regardless. They're like, oh, I always wanted to have purple here and purple on one side and blue on the other side and have. No, you didn't. You saw somebody else do that and it gave you an idea and said, I'm going to do it too.
Half the time that is the truth. I think you are absolutely right. That is half the time it's we see something we're like, oh, I like that. I mean, I'm even guilty of it too. I mean, the first time I put two
I'm,
strands in my
I'm
ear, it
guilty
was
of it
because
too. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying we're getting the ideas from somewhere, but we're not coming up with them ourselves. So the whole idea of us being as independent as we like to think we are, we're not.
no, we're not. No, we're not. Uh, very few of us are, absolute trendsetters. A lot of times we piggyback off something that we see. A lot of time, uh, it's something that we seen that sparked an idea. So for sure, all of us are just monkey see, monkey do, if you will, to an extent. That's where I think you get the term from. Social norms can both empower and restrict individual freedom. See, they provide framework for behavior that is also impose limitation on personal expression and choices, creating tension between conformality and authenticity. So we conforming to what we see, or are we being authentic to our uniqueness, to something that is just identified as just our oneness, if you will. Um, so speaking on that, do you think it's true to be selfless? Do you think selflessness exists? Or do you think everybody is just inherently selfish?
I think it's impossible to be selfless because
Mhm.
nobody's a saint.
Okay.
Nobody's without sin.
Right.
So it's completely impossible to live saint like. You're basically, that person would be like a saint, wouldn't they?
Well, I mean, when I hear selfless, I don't think necessarily means saint. Like, I think selfless is when I hear selfless, like putting somebody else's needs or wants before yours.
At the end of the day, people are always going to choose themselves over somebody else. When it's all
Typically,
said and
that's
done, at the end of the day, if at dire circumstances and it comes to our animal instincts and it's you versus me, it's going to be me every time.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I think all actions, like you said, all actions come from some form of degree of self-interest. It benefits you in some way, even if you're doing something for other people. It may make you feel good to do good for people. It may make you feel good to do a good deed. So it's still some self-interest, or you just like the way it'll make you look to someone else that you are putting someone else's needs before yours. So uh, or just fulfilling some self-gratitude. Maybe you just want to be the hero in someone's story. You know. So I think everything we do has some small degree of self-interest. So if you want to put it in that perspective, maybe all of us is just a tiny bit selfish. But now, if that's the case, is it okay to be a tiny bit selfish?
Is it okay to be a tiny bit selfless?
Selfish?
Yes.
Yes, I agree with you. Talk to me. Explain it to the people who may not agree with you. Why is that your perspective, brother?
Well, you have to be selfish to be able to put yourself first because be able to be before you take care of anybody else in general, you have to be able
Take
to
care of
take
you.
care of yourself first
Right.
anyway. So you have to put yourself first in that regards in general. But also you are no help to anybody if
Until
you
you let
don't
him
put
be.
until you put yourself first anybody. You
I
can't
agree.
be trying to help everybody else and putting yourself last because you'll be a fucking in a mess. You'll be in a rut.
True. Agreed. I couldn't say it. I couldn't have said it better myself, brother. I could have said it better myself, man. Um. So, what is the relationship between fear and growth in your perspective?
The growth of fear is the fear of growth.
You said what now?
The
The,
growth of fear is the fear of
yeah,
growth.
the growth of fear is the fear of growth. Hmm, I like that. I like that. I like that. I agree. I think
It's
fear
it's
can.
it's
Go ahead.
it's constant fear. It's more and more fear growing as you constantly grow. As the more fear comes, the more with you grow because there's more variables that now have to be in added in.
Agreed. I think the relationship between fear and growth is this. I wrote something for this too. I said fear can be a barrier to the growth, but also it can be act as a catalyst for growth. Because when we face our fears, we lead to personal development and in pushing ourselves out of our comfort zones that allows us to encourage our resilience and it builds our adaptability, our versatility, being able to adapt to any circumstance when you step up out of your comfort zone. But you don't know that you have those capabilities until you do that exact thing, you know, step up out that comfort zone. And when you get up out of that fear, there is a abundance of growth that comes behind it. And to me, that is the relationship between fear and growth. How do you reconcile the idea that fate or free will in your life? Do you think things happen by fate, or do you think we have the free will to control our own destiny?
Well, if we were given free will, but this was your fate, one cancels out the other one. So what does it end up being in the first place?
Now, does it cancel out the other one, or does it complement? To me, I think it complements the other one. You know, what I mean, I think when you accept your free will and you step into your free will, that may lead you into your destiny or your fate, if you will.
If it
Um,
complements it, doesn't it zero it out? So you just end up with an equal probability?
okay, okay. So whatever our free will is, that's what we singularly choose to do, correct? But if they say
No, what
that,
we do, our free will, yes, our free will is what we singly choose to do.
right, so if our free will is what we singularly choose to do, um, if we if that's what we singly choose to do, and if God is a God that knows all, He already know whatever your fate is. That's how you feel, right? Because that would be both of them canceling out. If you want to take the God out of it, you can take the God out of it. But if we walk, if our fate is already destined, and if we are, and then if we are making our own choices of our free will, does our free will and fate like cross? Like you say, does it cancel out? Like you say, do they cross paths by walking in by doing what you want to do with your own free will and what your fate is? If God has already determined your fate,
Maybe that's the guidance up until you took control of your own gift,
okay,
like
I
being
think
led so far until you took the reins on it.
right. I think circumstances. I think certain circumstances is out of our control. We all know that, right? You know what I mean? Certain things is out of our control. I think the things that are out of our control is fate because we can control. Damn if we do, damn if we don't. It's not going to control. It's not going to change the outcome. So that to me is our fate. But the things that we have the ability to control, I think that's our free will. If that makes sense. Because certain things you're not going to have the ability to control. So that's just you basically damned to the fate of whatever the circumstances are going to be, whatever the consequences or whatever the reality is going to be of that situation. So things that you cannot control, to me, that is fate. Things that you have the ability to control, where you have the ability to say, well, I'm gonna go this direction or I'm gonna take this path. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna go down this path of destruction, or I'm gonna take this path of righteousness. And whichever path.
But if your free will leads you to your fate, is it really your fate because your free will led you to it?
Hmm, good question. Good question. And I think that's why they complement each other. I think whenever you are I think whenever you are walking in your right path, your fate and your path of righteousness or whatever that may be for you, they should they should coexist. They should align, if you will. So that's a good question, and we got two different perspectives on it, and that's the beautiful thing about reality because what Matt had a reality is may be different from Mississippi or sexual reality, but that don't mean that he's wrong or that I'm wrong, you know. And I think we should handle more conversations with just trying to find an understanding than just trying to be right or wrong. I think when remove the right or wrong, and we just try to understand and comprehend from different perspectives, I think we get way further with people, just in general. You know, um,
Because
in what ways?
your fate
Go
could
ahead.
be set up. Your fate could be set up by your parents, setting you up from the get go and everything like that. But is that free will because you enjoyed it the whole time and you were doing it like that? So you were taking free will and you ended up becoming something like that, or was it fate because your parents set you up that way?
Hmm. Right. Okay. So your family set you up to be your dad ran a multi-billion-dollar company, correct? And he ran this multi-billion-dollar company, and you are going to be his predecessor. He left everything in his will for that you to be the CEO whenever you are of competency to do so. Okay, now that is your fate. Now your free will is learning the business or not. Does that make sense?
I got one for you.
Go
The
ahead.
Williams sisters
Yes.
and King George. Are the Williams sisters living out their free will because they loved playing tennis, or are they living out their fate that their father set up for them?
I like that. I like that. I think I think it's his fate that their daddy set up for them. I think it. I think it's the fate that their daddy set up for them. But then, but then, but then, but then I don't know because like, okay, so the daddy instilled it in them, correct? But once they got to a certain age, when their daddy no longer could dictate what their choices was, they still chose to partake in playing tennis, and that was at their own free will. Did they get all the accolades? So I think they complemented each other. I think the dad putting it in them allowed them to step into their fate, which was being two of the most prolific uh, tennis players, especially of being of African descent um, in the world, uh, because of the training and the ability that and the confidence that their daddy instilled in them. So, and I think that it gave them the free will to be like, you know what, I can do this. I want to do this. I did this my whole life when I didn't want to do this. Now I'm going to do this my whole life when I want to do it on my own terms. So I think that's how they did it because one sister didn't do it as long. With Venus didn't do it as long as Serena. So yeah, I think they are both fate and part of their free will. I think it was fate for Venus and it was free will for Serena because she chose to go on way after the dad was their manager. Yeah. So I can see why you said that our parents can basically set up what our fate will be because if your parents set you up in a position to if your parents set up generational wealth, think about the Rockefellers of the world, think about the Vanderbilts of the world, the Morgans of the world. Those families have generational wealth that's set up for that child way before that child comes of age. That child is a multimillionaire. So I definitely agree with you saying certain things is fate by the ancestors that came before you, and certain things is your free will by you creating something that maybe did not that was not set up before you, if you will. Yeah.
That's what
Good
I
perspective.
that's what I was trying to show. That's what I
Yeah,
was trying to show.
and I love it. I love it. I love it. See, that's the beautiful thing of this. That's the beautiful thing of this. Absolutely right. Um, in what way do you think art influenced societal change? Do you think art has the ability to shift whatever society say? Think about hip hop. The influence of what hip hop say and what they say in their lyrics and things that they say they do and glorify, and you see it reflects in society. So,
I
in
think
what
of
way?
Woodstock.
Go ahead.
You think of Woodstock and the music festival that happened to for peace and war, and then you had Woodstock in '99 that was trying to get the same thing that fell apart. Was a that one didn't work out too well, but there was still some big performances.
Right, right, exactly. Yes. I can think about the block parties that Dave Chappelle put on up there for New York. That was just a free event for the people, just to like get the morale going. That was like right after the George Floyd thing, and everybody was like, going through feeling like we didn't have a voice, uh, not being heard, dealing with social injustice like on a large platform. And so,
USO
yeah,
toys.
yeah. You got to think of what was the Public Enemy and their message and their music. Um, think about songs like Happy from Pharrell, How It Makes You Feel. Um, so I think art definitely has a way to influence society for sure. I think now, listen to the stuff that you hear now on the music, the Chicago music and the lyrics they say, and look how it reflects to the violence that you see in those communities. So I think art actually, I think I think society actually mirrors art, whatever art they are influenced by that you see in that community, whichever genre that you see in that community, that you kind of see the reflection of the society in that community as well. Where you see jazz and classical music more prevalent, you also see a more elegant type of community.
Art imitates life.
Art imitates life. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you to the fullest. Um, to me, God was the greatest artist. Everything He's created is magnificent. From just watching how roots grow up and curve, how branches are formed, how trees and change colors and transform, how insects do the same thing as animals and ourselves. Like, it's life itself is a beautiful art piece if you look at it and enjoy everything in its scenery for sure. Um, how do you define consciousness, and what do you believe lies beyond it?
How do I define consciousness?
Yeah. What is your definition of consciousness? What's man had his definition of consciousness?
As real as you can get.
Right.
As real, blunt, straightforward as you can get. No sugar coating, telling you how it is. That's conscious to me.
I believe I dig that. To me, consciousness is the awareness of your thoughts, your emotions, and your surroundings. So you said as real as it get. So that's as real as it get. You know what I'm saying? It's your thoughts, it's your emotions, and it's your surroundings with everything that entails, you know what I mean? That develops your reality. You know what I'm saying? That's your consciousness. Um, I think your consciousness also is the little voices inside you that tell you that this is right. That I think that let me put it like this way. I think consciousness is the little voice inside you that controls your moral compass because I think our consciousness keeps us from um, reacting impulsively. And I think whenever we do act off impulse, that's whenever we have a disconnect with our consciousness. So that's what to me that is a mental disconnect because now we don't have that moral compass to tell us, you know what, no, this is not right. I should not do this. Let me not crash out in this way, you know. Then you got certain people who just, act in a split second and just react and snap. And this is when you see those moments when you hear people snap, and that's when they're don't have the ability to separate their subconscious from reality. So therefore, now um, something that they thought that in their mind that they impulsively did, like, oh, I envisioned myself slapping this person, but I didn't really do it. No, they actually did it and didn't realize, oh, I actually did that. I thought it was just in my mind. Like, nah, you really crashed out. And I think that's a separation when someone has a mental disconnect whenever they uh have like temporary insanity, you know, a crime of passion and stuff like that. I think your consciousness is removed when those incidences are evident. Like whenever you have a crime of passion, whenever you have a situation where I think to kill someone, you have to have a small disconnect from your consciousness. And I think that's why we train soldiers before they go into battle. I don't think you just come in the world naturally a born killer. That I don't believe that. I think that is something that is trained. When you see a little baby, they don't think first thing to step on a bug. They trying to play with it or eat it. You know what I'm saying? Their first thought process is not to harm something. So I don't think that's our natural um, flight response. I think that's something that is taught. So how does the conception of time influence our decision and our priorities?
It controls it, puts a deadline on everything,
Yes.
makes us feel we don't have enough of it because it's
Yeah.
constantly moving and it doesn't stop. It doesn't slow down.
Right.
It's the only thing you'll never get more of.
It's the only thing you never get more of. Once time is gone, that's it. It's a lot of things that you can replenish, but you can't replenish no time. Time creates urgency and it shapes our priorities, often leads to focus on immediate gratification rather than a long-term fulfillment. Understanding the translucent nature of time can inspire us to make more meaningful choices. So when we don't appreciate time, oftentimes we end up making poor decisions. And as we get older and we realize that we have less time, we start to do and treat our time more preciously, if you will. When you're a child, you don't mind doing a lot of childish things. As you get older, you want to be more controlled and more precise with your time and who you spend it with and how you spend it, if you will, because you realize, in essentially, that as you get older, that time is money. As you say, once you spend that time, you can't get it back. What are the implications of artificial intelligence on human creativity and ethics? Do you think they go too far with some of this artificial intelligence?
Where's the human creativity in artificial intelligence?
You said, where is the human creativity and artificial intelligence? Well, do not humans create the computer to emulate whatever auto intelligence that it does function?
But if I can't draw it and I say I need a tiger, this word in a couple of these things, and it draws it up for me,
Mhm.
aren't you just having them design everything? Aren't you getting less creative? Aren't you taking away from the artist that drew it? Aren't you
Right,
taking away from the painter that could have painted it, or the 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 graphic artist?
right. I mean, absolutely. When you look at it from that perspective, I think you are, or think I think you can look at it in that perspective and say, yeah, I'm taking away um, from a digital graphic artist. Or I'm taking away from a person that write professionally. I'm taking away from a math tutor because I can put this math equation into Chat GPT and it tells me the steps of how to solve this equation without needing the tutor. But also, does it not benefit the individual that may not have access to a graphic designer or a tutor or a artist, but you
Yes,
need this?
it makes it easier for anybody to do it, but it also makes it harder to be successful at it because anybody can do it.
Hmm, respect that. I respect that.
If
But yes, even
everybody
though
can do it, nobody can do it.
right, everybody can do it, but I think the individuality of the situation is being that I'm just a little familiar with it. I think that anyone can do it, right? And I can tell you exactly the command, and you could probably get the same results. But the thing is, we think differently. So the commands that I tell AI is not going to be the same commands that you tell AI. So even though we both using AI, we still going to get separate results or individual results because we're giving it individual commands. If that makes sense. Like the way that I'm going to word that I want this tiger to be drawn, it's not going to be the same way that you tell AI that you want the tiger to be drawn. So AI drew both for our tiger, but we got two different tigers and two different digital art paintings. If that makes sense. So
Okay,
like,
let's say you wrote this little verse,
right?
right? But you can't figure out what goes with it. And
Okay.
you put it in Chat GPT and it finishes the whole song for it. Does
Right.
Chat GPT get songwriter credits?
Ah, I got you. I got you. I got you. Would Chat GPT get the songwriter credits, or would you because you wrote the most of it and Chat GPT finished it for you?
And is art designed to move you in some way, shape, or what shape?
Yes,
How
I
is the
think so.
computer? How is the computer going to move you?
I don't think it. I don't
It
think the
can't
computer has the
regulate.
ability
It
to.
can't regulate emotion. It
Right.
can't. It can't tell human emotion and everything like that. So it's not going to be. It's relying on that. So you still need the human element way more than people think because you can't let it take it over because you're losing the human element. It needs emotion.
Yeah.
It's not gonna.
Yeah.
It can give a couple words and you're gonna what are you gonna give it a couple of key words and it's gonna write a love song and that's how we're gonna write love songs now. This
I
song is
I
brought
feel
to you by this song is brought to you by Chat GPT.
you.
It
Right.
I love
I
to
think
see them in tour. What is it? Just a big screen and it's got some like electronics voices on some lips on a screen. It's moving and everything.
right. You know they'll come up with something, man. But I agree with you. I think certain emotions, certain feelings, you just cannot get off of artificial intelligence. I feel like something as raw as art is never going to something that the computer generate is never going to be as significant as something that a person hand stroke. I never. And same thing for go for writing. To me, you get the soul of a person when you get a real artist who wrote this magnificent piece versus something that was just artificially uh, disseminated to put together to give you this computerized version of
And to the
of a
people that
poem.
say you can't even tell, this is also to the people that say you can't tell the difference between AI and green screen and blue screen. Yes, you can tell that shit too. You can tell bad green screen from a bad green screen too. And that's been around for how long? They've been doing they used to go from building sets and actually having actors do the scenes and building the sets to get green screen and they got more technology and it looks worse. So now we're going to add more technology to the music and to everything and it's going to get worse. It's already proven to get worse. It's just going to continue to get worse.
Say so. I like when man had to get passionate about what he talking about. I love to see it. Hey man, how do we navigate the tensions between individualism and collectivism?
What do you
Like
mean?
balancing individual and collectivism, like involving recognizing the value of personal freedom while understanding the importance of the community. Healthy socialized thrives while individual voices contribute to and to collecting well-being. So in that perspective, like
I don't
how do
think
you
everything is designed to have everybody's collective well-being.
say so?
I don't think everybody's designed to have an idea in everything because not everybody is informed on everything. And if you're not informed on it, why should you do you want it? If people ain't informed on it, do you really want to start hearing opinions from people that ain't informed, just so they can throw their opinion in there? I'm sorry, that's too many chefs spoiled the pot.
Yeah, I agree with that. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Yes, I agree. So I accept everything you just said. Um, everybody does. Everybody's not going to be designed to be a leader. That's why you have leaders, and that's why you have followers. And I think that when you're talking about a community, there's not going to be multiple people that's going to get up and have the best interest of a community. And then you got certain people who, like you said, are not knowledgeable of things that they want to talk about, but they want to have an opinion. I don't want to sit here and have a debate with a bunch of in a room full of people who are not knowledgeable about the subject. So to have to have that knowledge, to have that ability to lead the room and lead that conversation and know how everybody's going to be affected by the changes being made. To me, that's the person and that's the role for collectivism. But that's not a role that everybody carries. But everybody can do their individual part by just collectively doing what's best for them in their individual freedom. You know what I mean? Whatever that entails for you, just to be a decent human being. You know,
That
you don't
doesn't
have
mean
to.
you can't get involved and learn the process and be involved and move your way up and get a hold of everything. But
Right.
from the get go, I don't think if people don't understand, people ain't gonna understand. Most of the times when people have big ideas, most people don't understand it from the get go anyway. They
Right.
call you crazy or they just don't comprehend it because it's too big for them to even understand. But
Exactly. And just because something is
could you
too big for
imagine,
someone else.
imagine Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla trying to explain the light bulb to somebody back when they only had candles?
Exactly.
They had to
Or
sound
electricity
great. They
itself.
had to think about that. They had to sound like witches. They had to get ready to string these people up or something. They had to be like get. They had to burn crosses on their front lawn or something.
Yeah. Yeah. These people
Oh,
must
you're
have
gonna
been doing some type of
create a
sorcery.
light bulb? It's not need candle. Like that had to be like insane.
Yeah. It had to be insane. Absolutely. Just like the Wright brothers when they talking about they wanted to fly. You know, Henry Ford when he created the first car. What I mean, stuff like these. Yeah. So I agree with you, man. Yeah. You ain't said nothing slick to a can of oil, man. For sure. People who are innovative always seem like they're crazy at first. Think about it. I mean, even Elon to most people, he seems a little bit weird to most people, but Elon is, one of the richest men in the world. So, when you were innovative, you may come off a little wicky. Um, your Terrence Howard, he has did some learning and educating for himself, and now he's spreading his philosophy with a lot of people, and a lot of people look at him like he crazy. You know what I mean? Because he challenged a lot of theories that we once thought was law. Yeah, man. So, dude, what is the meaning to live a meaningful life today, man? How does man have to live a meaningful life? what is that to you? To
Doing
live
what's right, even if I don't agree with it.
doing what's right, even when I don't agree with it. Sounds like a life full of integrity. I love it. So like a meaningful life and an integrable life is the same thing. I love it. I
Doing
love
what's
it.
right, even if I don't agree with it. Even if it's something that I find, I want to make sure I'm using the word right.
Right. Living a meaningful life means aligning action with value, fostering connections, and contributing positively to others and the world. It's about pursuing passion while being mindful of our impact, being meaningful for y'all folks. Give y'all something to stumble on. My boy man had a martial light to be politically correct. I love it. That's how you know you're dealing with someone of a high intellect. They don't even want to be wrong in their speaking. Don't want to use a word out of context.
Ostentatious.
Yes, talk to me.
I forget where I was going, but the word I was looking for was ostentatious.
Exactly.
I forget where I was going with it.
Man, how do we interpret the idea of truth in a world full of misinformation?
Check your sources and have multiple sources.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't just jump on the first thing.
Yes.
Don't jump on the first clickbait in TikTok that you saw. Make sure it's been around the internet a few times.
Exactly. Man, truth is often subjective. It's shaped by perception, and whatever the context is. You know what I mean? In a world full of misinformation, you want to seek multiple viewpoints and rely on critical thinking. That's essential to discern what is the truth and what is false, because it's a lot of misinformation in here. You got to fact check the fact checkers, if you will.
Understand that news reporters are now news opinionators. They used to
Yes,
report the news. Now they have an opinion on the
opinions
news
more
they're
than just.
reporting. So they're news opinionators.
I agree with you. Yes, and if you ever played the game of telephone, that's kind of what reporting and news is now. Um, I may tell Mad Hatter the full details, but Susie heard me tell Mad Hatter. Now Susie went to tell Sarah, but she didn't hear certain details, so she had to fill in her own details to tell Sarah. Now Sarah has a story that's different than what Mad Hatter and what I know. Now Sarah then went and told Sam. Now Sam went and told Peter. Now Peter went and told Paul. And you see how everybody done heard this story, and by everybody, the story gets a little bit different. And then here comes Paul wanting to report the story, and it's totally different than what me and Matt had originally spoken on. So that's what reporting is. That's what media is for y'all people. So you have to fact check the fact checkers. Understand that sometimes people put things and give you misinformation to do just that, to misinform you, to try to steer you away from what reality is. They try to alter the truth oftentimes when they're not, when they're not when they're ashamed of their role in the history. In what way does our upbringing shape our worldwide,
Are what?
our world view? My bad, not our worldwide, but our world view. How does our upbringing shape our world view? because someone who's from different perspectives, they don't have a different outlook on life. If someone who grew up in poverty is going to have a different outlook on life than someone that grew up with a silver spoon lifestyle. How you doing, Brooke?
Hi, Brooke.
We got Montana Cobain in the building. What's up, Montana?
What's up, baby? What's going on? What's up, man? Adam?
What's up, Montana?
Ain't not much, man.
You had a good weekend, man.
Oh yeah, so far so good. So far so good. On
Glad
my
to
way to
hear
go.
that, man.
On my way to go get the fam bam something to eat. Figured I sit at the bar and get me a drink while I wait, cause they be messing my order up when I call it in.
I know
So
that's right, brother.
I won't be in your face.
Hey, man. In what ways does our upbringing shape our worldview?
it shapes it in a lot of ways. If you ask me, because as you were just stating before, you introduced me to the crowd. As you were just stating, a person raised up north ain't gonna view life the same way as somebody raised down south.
Right,
Or hell, two different sides of the south. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Just like uh hell, look at South Carolina and North Carolina. Two totally different aspects.
Two totally different aspects.
You know what I'm saying?
We
Just
got
like
we got
you
somebody said she just got back from bike week. She just got back from South Carolina. Said she tired.
you
Said
know
she
what
was
I
out there
mean?
in bike week having a good time in South Carolina.
Oh Lord have mercy. Well, they were cutting up down there.
Mm-mm-mm. But yeah, yeah. Go ahead, break that down to us. Different regions can give you
Yeah,
different perspectives. Yeah,
it really does because, you know, if you think about people who grew up in let's just say states like Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, Kentucky, Missouri, Tennessee, states like that, they're big on farming. You know what I'm saying? So they're not worried about the brand new tennis shoes. They're thinking about them $400-500 pair of work boots. You know what I'm saying? To go out there and get dirty in. Whereas, the guy who grew up in Virginia, Maryland, Baltimore, DMV, just up that way, they thinking about, high end designer shoes or high end Jordans or whatever. That's what they think is in. And then, it just excuse me. It just got a whole totally different outlook, man. That's a good question right there.
yes, sir. Man, I'm gonna swing that back to you again. Um, how does our upbringing shape our worldview, man? Brooke said that there's a bike we turn her every which way but loose.
I'm gonna I'm gonna choose my next words carefully.
Yeah.
No, but as for the question, I think you have an idea of what home is and your idea of how you are, and then as you branch out, broaden your horizons, and as you branch out more, you broaden your horizons, and the more you branch out, the more your horizons are broadened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think
Because there's a lot of people that never get out of their two-block bubble.
right.
Mm-mm.
It's some people. You're right. It's certain people who ain't never left New York. It's certain people who ain't never left Fayetteville, North Carolina. That's where I'm from.
Facts.
Yeah, you got people who ain't never been nowhere, seen nothing. So all they know is that, like you said, they're 2 block radius. Excuse me. Um, she said that'd be my last year going. I'm too pretty for that. Oh Lord. She said
Oh,
that'd be her
oh,
last year going. She said she is too pretty for
man.
that. SHIT. Sugar
It
honey
got
iced
wild
tea.
out there this year.
Well, I stopped going a long time ago too because those type of festivities, it just don't tickle my fancy anymore.
Nah.
I don't, I don't, I don't, I don't desire to be in those type of environments. I like to be around older crowds now. I
Hmm.
used to do those frivolous things in my youth too, but in my older age, I try to act more civilized.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
It
Ain't
ain't,
nothing
it
wrong
ain't
with
nothing.
that.
And listen, it ain't nothing civilized about backbeat. You
Not
going
a
on there to have
damn
fun.
thing.
You
Not a
going on there to have fun. I mean, and hey, look, to each his own. Because in my time, I was out there having a blast, as you know. But as I get older, as they say, when I was a child, I did as a child. When I became a man, I put away my childish ways. She said, I went with some stage party. I went to some stage party in Atlantic Beach, and I got trampled on. Oh Jesus! They were fighting and shooting, and I said, "Yeah, let me get back to Fairfield."
bruh.
Well, I'm glad that you made it back to Fayetteville, and I'm sorry that you got trampled on this. Stay your ass indoors because it ain't safe. Yeah,
It
yeah.
ain't safe
Stay
outside,
your
man.
ass
Shit,
indoors.
hell, Friday night they had 11 people shot, one dead.
What?
They-
Yeah,
At the beach?
yes sir.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
UNC
just
and then was out there too. The old heads was everywhere. She said Uncle and them was out there too. She said them old heads was everywhere. She said all the old men was
they
out
be out there. Yeah, you know how that go, man. I'm gonna catch a little tail feather, see what I can grab and look at.
there.
Son of old man B, man. They used to activities like that. They used to freak Nick and the real spring breaks and stuff like that.
I forgot that I forgot that Black Bike Week is always on Memorial Weekend. Um, that's just
Mm.
how far I'm disconnected from that type of environments nowadays. But I'm glad that you enjoyed yourself, and I'm glad you made it back home, young lady. Um, yeah, you gotta be careful out there, man. You gotta definitely gotta be careful out there. Do y'all have any type of big events that go on up there, man? During Memorial Weekend?
Not really.
She said, she said, "Cause I'm short, so they pushed me out the way. Like didn't even see me. Got thrown all over." He said people got thrown all over because she's small. Yeah, you gotta be careful, young lady. You gotta be careful out there in them crowds. Um, what do you think is the most pressing issue that is facing humanity today, gentlemen? What is the most pressing issue for humanity today?
Uh, the cost of living.
The cost of living.
The
Cost
cost
of
of living
living.
and the pay. I guess you can say it's pay. The cost of living and overall pay for each and every job out here, man. Everything is underpaid. Everything, everything is underpaid
Everything's underpaid.
because, like, I'm sure up there where Manhattan's at, I'm pretty fucking sure a one bedroom, one bath apartment probably hitting for about 2 bands a month right now.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And then I bet you probably one of the good paying jobs probably only makes just a little bit more than that a month.
Yep.
Like, come on,
Yeah.
man, it's not adding up, man. That's what I feel like is the number one. Uh Whatever the words you just used, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but that's what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel.
the pressing issues for humanity, right? That
Yeah,
is definitely has to be a pressing issue. I agree
And
with
they
you.
want you to make a month and a half times rent too.
Yeah, and when you first move in, I don't know about up there, but I know when you in Florida, they don't only just want the first month and the deposit. They want the first month, the last month, and the deposit.
yes,
So
sir.
you got to have three payments before you can even move into one of these places. And
Yeah,
so and you paying more than what people pay in their mortgage just the rent.
facts.
For old houses too up here, since
Yeah,
it's
I'm not just
Old New England houses too, old where they got tilted roofs. It's well, a lot of the houses got tilted ceilings up on the top floors and everything. So you're renting an apartment or something with a tilted ceiling.
right. What about you, man? What you think is one of the most pressing issues?
the disparity between the top end wages and the bottom end wages.
Mm.
The haves and the have-nots. So that gap is too large.
Actually,
Yeah.
not only the haves and have nots, but the fact that they can give failing companies CEO like 60 million in a bonus, but then go bankrupt 6 months later, and that guy's just going to be running another company in in 2 months. He'll have another job running he'll be CEO of another company, but meanwhile all the people that are now out of work are either still out of work or now working a lower rated job than what they had the last time just to make ends meet.
I agree with you. Hey, listeners, what do y'all think are some of the most pressing issues? Y'all can put it in the comments and let us hear what your comments is. What y'all think is the pressing issues for humanity today? One of our guys said the disparity between the people who have a lot and the people who does not. How large corporations could be able to just have a Fortune 500 company, it goes under. He could go run another Fortune 500 company, but all those people that was employed are now unemployed or having to deal with lesser end jobs just to make ends meet. Also, we talk about how the housing market is tremendously overpriced and how the cost of living is tremendously um, overpriced compared to what the going rate and pay is for the normal day American. So those are two very good pressing
We
issues. And
could
I think I'm
have
gonna
the overpricing of vehicles.
yeah.
Oh boy.
I mean I
Does
think I
have you
go ahead.
seen the price of these vehicles? Do they look like 40 and 50 and $75,000 vehicles to you, or do they look
No,
like the same vehicles that you thought were from when you were a kid, just with a whole lot of inflation, but it's the same cheap vehicle?
Now you ain't never lied because my father just went and bought a brand new 2025 Silverado. Now he can afford that. So I asked him, I said, man, so what was the ticket on that? He said 86,000. God damn. Like, is it gonna cook for you? Is it gonna drive by itself? You know what I'm saying? And it's like it looks like the same $30,000, $40,000 Silverado of yesterday. Granted, yes, it does have, more modernized features and stuff like that. And, he was able to get his discounts for all the work he put in over life, you know what I'm saying? But besides that, the sticker price was still $86,000 for the same truck. It might just have a sunroof in it, or it might have a new little computer looking screen for the radio and stuff like that. But that's ridiculous, man. That's
no, I
ridiculous
agree with you. I agree with you.
for a truck.
I
And
agree
then
with
like I started looking at the SUVs. Once he came home with that, because I need to get an SUV for the wife and the kids. So I'm like, I started looking at the SUVs. Damn, they starting out at 95, 110. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Who the hell?
and what about these vehicles saying that they're worth $100,000? None of these vehicles to me are worth $100,000 to me. They won't
Hell,
even
nah,
last 100,000 miles.
bro,
nah.
transmission gone, fifteen
Some,
thousand
some,
miles.
some something's going on there before 100,000 miles come up. Yeah, for sure. You're gonna get some maintenance done on that shit for sure. And most cars, see, the thing is, like you just said, the cars are costing more nowadays, but they're not as durable or dependable as they were back in the '80s, back in the '90s, back in the '50s. You know,
And
cars
they're made from
is
plastic, so they crumple up like tinfoil.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I see older cars on the road still lasting, and then I see cars that are brand new sitting on the side of the road with flashing lights. Need somebody come get. So yeah, I see what you mean. For me, I think climate change is a arguably the most pressing issue because it affects and impacts all of us. People don't realize that the Himalaya mountains are melting. The ice glaciers in Antarctica are melting. At a rapid rate. Like They say in a few years that certain states are going to be underwater just because they're below sea level. You know, so I think global warming and climate change is a significant thing. Look at all these the catastrophe that's happened. Look at the significant in the weather patterns and how we're seeing weather that we haven't seen so rampant and so rapid back to back. So I think that it is something that everybody can definitely recognize. Think about the summers now. Think about the winters now. I mean, we did. I mean, for North Carolina, we really didn't even have a winter this year. Like it really wasn't that cold, and it warmed right back up immediately. So, I think that's something to recognize. Like when the last time we had some real snow,
We
like that
haven't had
didn't,
we haven't had a good snow in the last couple of years here, and that which is quite surprising.
you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I think and all these think about all these fires that's starting in the wintertime. Like people gotta wake up, man. The earth is getting hotter, and it's very evident. And we can distract ourselves with the media, we
Um,
distract ourselves with
I
TikTok
hate
and
to
everything.
correct you, but you're getting it all wrong.
Say so, talk to me.
The Earth is getting cooler.
So it's getting cooler, talk to me.
The Earth is getting warmer, which is making the ice melt. But you're forgetting about how much fresh water is in the ice. So the fresh water from the ice is melting with the salt water from the ocean, making the ocean less salt water. So it's making the oceans get colder, making it eventually the oceans will freeze and will put us into an ice age.
Huh?
Oh my God.
Talk about it.
What?
Okay.
What
Well,
civilization
they
ain't
say
ready
that
for that?
you say that well, it's only 3% land. The Earth is made up with 97% ocean.
Yeah.
It may be more than that now, but I remember at some point it was like
If you
97% ocean.
look at the map. Look at every major continent. What is it surrounded by?
Yeah, water.
Water. Water.
Let me look up. I want to make sure that that we accurate with our facts with this one.
It's 70% water.
70% water.
You can look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's 70%.
Yeah. What I put? Fresh water or salt water?
Salt water.
Let's do salt water. See, I know I wasn't tripping. Man, it says,
Maybe the oceans take up 70% of the water.
look, it says to break it down to numbers. Out here, I put it up where y'all can see it on the screen. So that way we can read it together. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Don't call on me.
Nah, I'm just gonna read this little quick little segue right
Now I'm
here.
thinking about back in school. I used to make the funny voices every time it was my turn to read.
It says to break down the numbers, it says 96.5 of all Earth's water is contained within the oceans as salt water, while the remaining 3.5% is fresh water, like lakes and frozen water that's locked up in glaciers.
You about to give me
Now,
that? Oh,
now it
never mind.
says, hold on, now it says how much of the Earth is covered in salt water. Salt water primarily found in the ocean comprises the overwhelming majority, approximately 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water.
Yeah, see,
Okay,
that's where I got my 70%.
so it's 71% of the world is covered by water. Yeah. So
You see what?
even at that rate, you know what I mean? Matt has said, in an event that the oceans were to freeze over, um, scientists say that it could create a ice age. So yeah, that's something. That's why I see these are pressing. issues. These is why I say these are pressure issues. You got people. You got Elon saying that we need to look for another Earth because our Earth is going to be consumed with fire. So yeah. I mean, Revelation said it too. So I mean, it's whatever you want to believe, whoever you want to interpret. But yeah, shit getting real out here. That ozone is thinning, and we're doing it to ourselves. The emissions that we put in, the carbon footprint that we leave, we're depleting the natural resources of our atmosphere.
Bro, it's funny you said it. This might be off subject and left field as hell, but I was kind of having this debate the other day because it's been about three sightings of a black bear around Fayetteville and the Lumberton area in the past week or so. And I'm like, what
Right.
the hell? Like, what y'all thought? We didn't have bears in North Carolina? Yes, we have bears, but we're
Yeah, I always have bears,
constantly
right?
we're tearing down their resources. We cutting into their
Right.
habitats, putting up
So you're starting
neighborhoods
to
and
see them.
shopping centers.
Absolutely.
See what I'm saying? Because I was coming home. It was one flat line on the side of 95. Anybody come pick his big ass up yet? But I seen him. And then it was a cub and another bear in somebody's backyard. And I'm like, hey man, look, it's more to come, you know. But
Right.
like you said, bro, like you said, we're doing it to ourselves, and it's more than what the average eye thinks. For real. And people tell like,
I respect that. Hey, for all our listeners over on Instagram, we do see you. Your comments can come up on real time if you join us on our live on YouTube. So when you see us live on Instagram, we are live on YouTube and Facebook. If you come over to Facebook or YouTube and you put your comments, they could be up while we are live. Your comments will show in real time. The comments that are on Instagram, we still look for moderators to let us know the comments that are coming from over there. But we do appreciate the listeners that are on our Instagram for sure, and we see you. Um, how do we cultivate empathy in such a divided society? You got everybody divided by gender, divided by sex, divided by sexual orientation, divided by stature as far as the haves and the have-not, divided by ethnicity. You know, how do we create empathy in this culture? You got some people backing the police. You got certain people that feel like the police need to be reformed. Um, so you got certain people that the justice system is needed. You got certain people say that the justice system is a systematic racism system. So how do we create some empathy when we got all this division going on?
Mm.
We need a drastic event to unite us.
Say so. Now,
And
what type
that's
of
and
drastic
that's
event
and
would you
that's
say so?
and that's usually what happens.
So you mean like a catastrophe?
Yes.
Ah, so you say unfortunately, as unfortunate as it sounds, that it's going to take a catastrophe to kind of gel everybody together and really let us see that we all are impacted the same way, no matter what we look like and where we come from.
Yes.
I agree with that. I can agree with that. Montana, see Montana getting some food right now.
Oh, damn, my bad.
No, you good, Blair. You good. While Montana getting some food, I think in some ways, yo, we see you, Miss Heather. I think some ways that I think some ways that we could cultivate empathy is just doing like elementary, like what we were taught as small children, man. Treating people how we want to be treated. How easy is that? To me, when you treat somebody like they're a human first, not that they're um what happened to COVID caused a catastrophe. What wasn't COVID some kind of catastrophe? Yes, COVID was supposed to be a type of catastrophe. And I think when COVID happened, you did see a lot of people come together. A lot of us didn't even want to. A lot of people was all in agreement with the government to not take the shot. Then you had so many people that were with taking the shot. So I think it pulled some people together, but I think in different ways. So she says, was COVID-19 not a catastrophe to pull people together, Manhattan?
It was, but was it September 12th, 2001? Was it December 8th, 1941?
Right, right. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It damn sure was not. Those events. Those were rough events. Um, absolutely. And so I think it, like I was saying earlier, when we treat each other like we want to be treated, and you treat a person as a human first, not as a human with another title behind it. Like a black human, a white human, a cop, an officer, or a judge. Like if you just treat everybody just like they are human first, I think we can start creating some empathy in that formality, if you will.
We'll never judge a human a first because every person wants to have a title.
Mm, say so.
Every person wants to have, whether it's sergeant or lieutenant, captain, CEO, president, vice president, secretary, mayor, governor. It's some type of title. VP of.
Yeah, you said we said everybody loves to have a title, right?
Yes.
CNA, LPN, doctor. It's a chef, top chef.
PhD.
Right. I see what you're going there. I'm picking up what you're putting down, man. I'm mopping up what you're spilling. Yeah. So you're saying it's difficult for us to look at each other like humans because all of us is seeking a title.
Yes.
So I don't want to just be.
Everybody's always looking to one up the competitor, and the competitor is you, and you can be anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
competition over who's going to be the top of the food chain.
Respect. I like that. So what question do you believe is the most important for us to ask ourselves, for us to grow, and for us to evolve as a community, as individuals? What is a question that we all should ask ourselves, Matt Heather?
Ask ourselves.
Yeah. What is something that we can ask ourselves, or a question that we could ask the community to evoke change? What is a question that all of us could internally ask ourselves?
I'd have to go with what they taught us in elementary school. What, why, where, when, and how.
Yes. What's that? The five W's, right? Exactly. Exactly. What about you, Montana? Uh, what is the question that you think we all need to answer ourselves? Ourselves, the community, whichever.
Be real with you. A
What
lot of
can we
them.
do for others? Miss Heather said, "What can we do for others?" She said that's a way that we can create empathy, and also a way that that's a question that we can ask ourselves. Like, what can I do for you? How can I be of service to you?
When we gonna grow up?
Woo! Montana
That's
said, when we gonna grow up? He said, that's a
that's
question to ask yourself and the community.
yeah,
When we gonna
for
grow
sure.
up?
When we gonna grow up?
When we gonna grow up? Still putting into work to the day. What? Still putting it to work to this
Oh, she's
day.
talking about the five W's.
Oh, she said, still putting the work to this day to find them. All right, I'm picking up what you're putting it down. Yes, exactly. Something we learned in elementary school. I don't even know if they still teach that to the young kids now because they got some different way of teaching. The
I
way
don't
they
know if
told,
they teach that either.
yeah, I think our era was some of the best teaching. I think now the teachers, nurses. I think now most people are doing things for a check and not for the passion of the job. And I think life has made it that way. Life has made it to where, you may have a passion for uh, uh, being in the service of helping people, but now the job don't pay enough to where now you doing other jobs where you may not like, but it sustains your bills. So now people are doing jobs for the money instead of for passion. I don't see the teachers have a passion for teaching the students the same way. In the same way in the nurses' homes. I used to be a janitor at a nursing home, and I really didn't like the way the young CNAs would teach to treat those old people. You know what I mean? Like 21, 23-year-old CNAs, they would treat somebody grandma like they was, like they was a piece of shit, and be mad at when the old lady pee on herself like she can hold her bladder. Like this shit would just make me mad. But that's the thing where they're doing it for the money and not necessarily for the passion of what they're doing. Um, Miss Heather says, "Where are the fallout shelters?" Or thinking that we won't make it when Jesus comes back. Okay. She said, "Where are the fallout shelters?" Or is it the thinking that we won't make it when Jesus comes back? I like that. What you got to say about that, man, Heather?
There are fallout shelters, I believe, in Nebraska or Ohio. There's a whole village of them where they're buying a community of fallout shelters. You can Google it, so you may want to actually Google it. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, you got a few billionaires that got the bunkers and shit. So they preparing for whatever type of catastrophe.
Yeah, I'm gonna get me one. I'm gonna get me a bomb bunker. Shit.
I want a
For,
bunker.
He said under
for,
the different airport.
for those of y'all, this is a liquid marijuana. Try it. It's very good.
What's it? What's in it?
Um, it's got a I know it's got a gin in it. Hold on, you about to make me look that up. Hold on. So we be making them at home too.
Look,
Hold
look, 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 look. Heather said she wants some.
on.
Hey man, she like I want some. She like weed.
Hey, look, when somebody put me onto it back in the day, I be asking everybody. Yes, ma'am. I be asking everybody if they got some of that junk, man, because it's good, man. It comes with. Thank you. It comes with a half ounce of Captain Morgan spice rum, Malibu rum, blue caraco, uh, mini whatever this M word is, pineapple juice, and sweet and sour mix. But you can replace all that with top shelf.
She said weed is what's in it. She said that's what's in the liquid, the liquid cannabis or liquid marijuana.
I wish shit. I won't be mad.
I take my drinks infused with a little bit of cannabis. They got a restaurant that got a cannabis infused food now for real.
Yeah, but see, I don't like them. I don't like everybody because like sometimes that shit be taking like straight up weed. It's like everybody think they can make brownies and cookies. Like, bro, if I wanted to go bite a damn bud, I just would have got a damn bud out the bag and bit that. It don't taste nothing
Look,
like no brownie.
look.
It's straight weed.
Fitness person said it sound like a mixture of bad decisions.
Depends on what you consider bad.
Hey, she said it's legal. Drink up, baby. Yeah, all the good things, man. Soulful Sunday edition, man. We appreciate everybody locking in with us. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that bell and like and subscribe and tell a friend about Art for Change. If you know anybody that is an artist and they want to showcase they talent or their artistry, they book, whatever they have, if they're instrument and they want to play an instrument, if they sing and they want to sing a song, whatever they want to do, man. If you artist in any spectrum of art, you want to showcase your place, hey, Art for Change is the place to be. We'll interview you, we'll give you a spotlight to do your thing. And what is it to hurt to give you new recognition and new followers, baby? So yeah, lock in with your boy,
Oh man. Speaking of that,
man.
right? I got a call yesterday, Mister.
She said, I want to paint, I want to sing and play the guitar. Hey, look, Heather, whenever you want to come on, you just come on, baby. You can lock in with
Come
us
on out
anytime.
here.
Yeah, tell a friend and tell a friend. That's what we're really here for. Now we do these shows in between just to do our filler shows to keep our listeners in tune. But the real essence of Art for Change is to shine the spotlight on aspiring artists. So we always looking for new and aspiring talent. You know what I mean? We want to help you build your brand, your network, and your community to help get you to the next level. We want to give you that Keith Lee effect. She said, I'm here. I love it. We appreciate you. Hey, Montana, before we close it out today, man, give the people a positive affirmation.
Um, no matter where you at in life, it's never too late. Rome wasn't built in a day, and life is a marathon and not a race. Move at your own pace.
She said she went over the podcast about Art for Change is about bringing awareness to any type of social injustice. Art for Change is about building your brand and your network. Art for Change is about putting the spotlight on any art and artists with all spectrums of art, especially people that's making a difference in their community. Um, so in a nutshell, speak, that's what Art for Change is. And now I'm gonna ask you, and we'll go around. What is Art for Change to you? What does Art for Change mean for Montana?
Um, art for change just means, man, any style of art. You know, taking it and creating change in someone else's mind and perspective, whether they hear a song, see a picture, or hear some words. You know, just that uplifting of the soul with art. That's how I think of it for real now.
Matt Heller, what does Art for Change mean for you, brother?
Art with a purpose. Art with a purpose to move people and change people and make them think. Art with a purpose.
I like that. And the thing is, for me, I think it's just Art for Change is art being being the vehicle for change. It's very simple. Um, I think art has always been a vehicle for change. I think art has always been a symbolism to express yourself and to communicate the message for the people. So, and I think art has always been able to be transcend. Art transcends and make us have an opinion. You know, when Michael Jackson came up with "They Don't Really Care About Us," they made us feel something. You know what I mean? When you hear certain melodies, it make you feel certain things. So art has always been transcending, no matter what form of art it is. When you hear Beethoven, the intelligence of that piano makes you feel something. Um, of all aspects of art. You know, when you hear a person on the piano, or a person playing the guitar, or a person playing a saxophone, it makes you feel something, especially when they play it from their soul. What do you think art is missing sometimes? Obsessed that we capture our mind. It's only way to. Obsessed, we can capture our mind. It's the only way to. Yes, I like that. I agree with you, Miss Heather. We appreciate you tuning in, baby. Tell your friend and tell a friend. Oh, also, we do go live, but you can catch any of our episodes on any of our audio platform. Anywhere you get your audio podcasts, you can search Arthur Chain Podcast and you can find us. You can search us on the official Arthur Chain Podcast on Instagram. You can search us on Arthur Chain Podcast on TikTok and on Facebook, and on Threads as well on the official Arthur Chain Podcast. You know, it's connected to Instagram. We go live typically on Mondays, on Thursdays, and on Sundays at 9 Eastern time. Also, we may go live in between the week. This is why you got to hit that bell so you always know when we go live. We do go live every show. Our future goal for our show is to have a studio where we do this thing every day and bring in different artists to be live and showcase them and their talent and help build up their community. I think it cap. She said, "I think art captures the whole piece of your mind, and you put it all in the canvas. My art, anyway, like I can just track, but yeah, it has so much in it. I love it. We appreciate you, man. Good night, Miss Heather. Yeah, see, man, that's what it's all about, man. And see, the thing, what I think about was one thing about beautiful about art is art has the ability to connect to all of us, no matter what we look like, no matter where we come from, no matter what background we are. Art can connect and bring all of us together. Art can connect me with somebody all the way in another third world country. You know what I mean? That just as long as he get on this platform and he likes the same thing that I like, the same birds that's coming out of my mouth when I do my poetry. You know what I mean? I can have a fan in Africa who ain't never met me before. That's the power of art. So art is always transcendent. You know what I mean? Um, and today has been a very impactful show, man. I appreciate everybody that's been listening and kicking it with us, man. But until next time, man, peace and love. Art for change. Peace.